So late 98 to 2002 were absolutely insanity and some of the best years of the Opie and Anthony Show. It was the MTV Music Awards, I think, or Movie Awards, whatever. CBS gave me and Anthony like just the run of the place. Here's Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora saying they were fans of our radio show because of their drummer or somebody turned them on to it. I was like, this is fucking crazy, man. Because the early years of NEW were massive. By 97, we were like huge.
I'm done with like being singled out as the only guy that had issues and did stupid stuff on the Opie and Anthony Show. I am so done with that. Okay? Show me one picture where they're actually doing stuff as friends. Please, I beg you. One. You're not going to find it. Howard called in a favor and told Letterman, I've been good to you over the years. I don't want you having Opie and Anthony on your show anymore. I don't want anything to do with pretty much all of them.
Is it just me, or do you dislike Jimmy? Yes, I do. I dislike Jimmy more than Anthony. Yes, 100%. 100%. I'm amazed that Anthony's still friends with Jimmy. Stop being friends with the guy. He fucking played both of us.
I kind of regret meeting Anthony. I really believe I would have been better off.
What's up,
Hey,
Piff?
Piff? What's up, buddy?
Hey, Piffy!
What's going on, buddy?
Not much.
You want some sandwich? We got sandwich.
Yeah,
from...
I take a sandwich.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Here you go, buddy.
You're
From Leone's Deli in Brooklyn. From Leone's Deli in Brooklyn.
Why would you hand a magician a sandwich when he walks into the studio?
Why should I not?
No, but for what?
I don't know. I thought I had 2 pieces
He's
left.
gonna eat on mic?
Is he trying to be nice?
No, yeah, I was just
It's
trying
a
to be
fucking
nice.
radio show, not a fucking fort.
for your journey.
Right.
No, you relax. He's an hour late, and you're like, here, have a sandwich. Take some time. And
Yeah, sorry.
It looks pretty delicious.
It's good, man.
And how's the dog this morning?
Yeah, he's fine.
He's all right.
Dog's fine.
Will he
Yeah.
eat some of the sandwich?
Yeah, he would. He would eat all of the sandwich.
why would you hand a guy a sandwich
Yeah,
when
I'm
he fucking sits down in the microphone?
I'm regretting.
It's delicious.
Damn, James, you've been listening since 06. I find that really weird because some of the greatest years of the Opie and Anthony Show were from, 98. I think it was around 4th of July weekend, 98. We started up in New York, somewhere around there. First few months, So late 98 to 2002 were absolutely insanity and some of the best years of the Opie and Anthony Show. And it's so weird, right? I see people go, well, I was listening in 06. So you missed like a good solid 3 crazy years of the show. And it doesn't do it justice, finding stuff online here and there. I got all those shows. I should start posting them. Those I do have. E-Rock's got the rest of my stuff. It was it was the MTV Music Awards, I think, or Movie Awards, whatever. And they, CBS gave me and Anthony like just the run of the place because they were trying to impress us because, we were negotiating a contract or whatever. So we go into the MTV Music Awards and everyone's kind of going in, and somehow somebody called my name and said Opie, and all of a sudden I think it started with Richie Sambora. Richie goes, Opie's here? Holy shit, right? And he comes right up to me. Anthony can back up this story. Richie Sambora comes right up to me, goes, holy shit, you're Opie? I'm Richie Sambora. We're fans of you and Anthony. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Then he calls over John Bon Jovi. John Bon Jovi comes up. Now it's me and Anthony with Richie Sambora and John Bon Jovi. Like, they're basically saying that I think it was their drummer turned them onto the show. So during practice, in between practicing and stuff, they would listen to the Opie and Anthony Show. They were already massive stars. Wow. And I remember kind of doing almost like a Chris Farley and go, you guys are pretty cool too. Because I'm just a kid from Long Island. This was at the height of the Opie and Anthony Show. I don't know if we ever were bigger than like around 2001, 2002. And here's Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora saying they were fans of our radio show because of their drummer or somebody turned them on to it. I was like, this is fucking crazy, man.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
And all I can
That's
say
a-
was,
that's very cool.
you guys are pretty cool too.
Remember that time you're in Bon Jovi?
Exactly.
Yeah. You remember that time in band camp?
Yeah, I was just sitting there, hoping I wasn't gonna shit my pants. I was like, this is just crazy.
That's so awesome.
Kel, I've been seeing you around lately. I keep track of my people. Let's see what Kel has to say. I'm reading this cold. I listened to 4 arguments on your former show with Jim, Ant, and JV. Elvis, do you acknowledge or regret the way in which you engaged in the debates or the style you used? Have you grown or changed in how you handle conflict? I really don't regret much. I kind of regret meeting Anthony, but that's very complicated, and it's a deep dive just for me and my therapist. Okay. I really believe I would have been better off, which just sounds crazy. I know, because you're in the O&A world. I don't really regret it, Kel. No, I don't. Know why? I'll tell you why. For the simple reason it made amazing radio. Me yelling and screaming and sounding like an a-hole. Other guys yelling and screaming and sounding like a-holes. It wasn't just me. They had their own issues. And there were times they were completely out of control on the radio as well. I'm done with like being singled out as the only guy that had issues and did stupid stuff on the Opie and Anthony Show. I am so done with that. Okay, but I can talk about my part in this. Growing up, Kel, I had a mom. How she communicated with us was to yell and scream in our face, to the point that most of us have PTSD now. So that's all I knew. So with me and conflict for, I wouldn't say most of my life anymore, man. I wouldn't say most of my life anymore. How I handled things was to yell and scream and make a big deal about it. And when it was on the radio, it was amazing radio. And then it made for awkward days after the fact, if you want to know the truth. I regret the yelling and screaming behind the scenes that I did at times, but I was so frustrated because, that's not even fair, because a lot of these guys did work really, really hard. But there were times I just knew what I needed or wanted for the show, and I knew it would work, and I wasn't getting it done the right way, and I needed a better way to communicate that to the people around me. I got in bosses' faces yelling and screaming, but I don't do that anymore. It's very rare that I raise my voice. It's very, very rare. So I have changed on how I handle conflict. This is $20 well spent, because this is a good topic. So I do regret it to a point, but I also know that it made damn good radio. When I was out of my mind and just yelling and screaming and losing it, no one's turning their fucking radios. And it's so funny. Then you look back on it all these years later, and now people try to spin that like it's a bad thing. That they were tuned to their radios with all that nonsense and drama. Oh my God, he's out of his effing mind. What are you going to tune into Z100 at that point? Shut up. So there you go. I hope I answered your question. But through therapy, through meeting my wife, through getting more into spirituality and meditation and yoga. I've worked on that very, very hard over the years. Everyone related to the show is still friends, but you, LOL, says everything. Okay. I don't want to be friends with them, Mac. And they're not friends. Oh, I guess I'm driving people crazy today because the numbers are really high, and they're not friends. Show me one picture where they're actually doing stuff as friends, please. I beg you. One. You're not going to find it. They're cordial and friendly with each other, and that's fine. But I made my decision a long time ago. For the most part, I don't want anything to do with pretty much all of them. And partly because it just wore me out. The whole thing just wore me out. I don't even necessarily have problems on a personal level with a lot of those people. I just don't want to be with any of them. The whole thing wore me out. But they're not friends. None of them are actually friends. They're all just hustling. That's all they're doing is hustling, trying to make a living, trying to make a few bucks. That's all. And that means they all kind of are in the same circles. That's it. But to use the word friends, that's completely ridiculous. Let everybody else fight and claw their eyes out of each other. It gets exhausting. I was in that world for a long time and I was good at it. But now I'm like, there's so many people trying to start stupid little fights with me. And I'm like, no. I'll speak my piece, hopefully get a few laughs in, and that's all I give a shit about these days. Poor guy gets worked up so easily. Not really, Danielle. To be honest with you, not really. It's just honestly, it's just frustrating because I don't think people fully understand where I sit. I just don't know. I just don't know what's going on out there. I know there's a lot of like mid-level shows just fighting with each other. I know that much. That hits my radar. People are like, I'll tell you one. You gotta watch this. Kevin Brennan went all in with Anthony. And there's a link. And most people click links. I used to click links. Back in the day, it was like, you got to see what they're saying about you on Whackbag. And I was guilty. I ran right to my computer. What the hell are they saying about me on the Whackbag? And then it got to a point many years ago you got to hear what blah, blah said, or you got to see this video. I don't click on any of it, and people don't understand. They don't fully understand. I just don't do it. It's good for your mental health. Every once in a while, do I break down? Sure.
Roddy, for some info. From Tennessee, been listening since 2006. Wow, that's cool. That's so weird that people like jumped on board in like 2006. Because me and Anthony, we truly became like rock stars in the radio business. And man, by 97, we were like huge. Although we were only in one market at that point in Boston. But we pretty much couldn't walk around Boston. I mean, it was insanity. But by 2006, that's crazy. Because the early years of NEW were massive, from 98 to 2002. Holy crap. But hey, Roddy, right on, man. And once again, thanks for joining my my memberships on YouTube. First guy. He's the first one that did it. I'll just say, like, I'm amazed that Anthony's still friends with Jimmy. Amazed. There's enough info out there right now. He's the only one. He's sitting in our seats, Anthony, you idiot. Stop being friends with the guy. He fucking played both of us. Don't you understand that yet? Go after yourself, Jim Norton. Sitting there, taking Anthony's money and sitting in his seat. And you didn't want to be there the whole time. But, man, did you love his seat? And you loved the giant raise they gave you, didn't you? Go F yourself. And then he allowed me to get all the abuse from all the fans, and he skated. That's why I don't have a lot of respect for a lot of people that used to listen to the show, because they gave me so much crap and gave Jimmy nothing at the time. Nothing. When he was the one actually sitting in Anthony's seat and actually taking Anthony's money. Because he got a giant raise after Anthony left. A giant raise. And he also was the first person to call me and said, hey, we got to continue. If you were let go, if you were fired, Anthony absolutely would have continued. So we need to continue. It was the first call. I didn't even know what I was going to do yet. I had to figure it all out. So, Jim Norton, go F yourself. Is it just me, or do you dislike Jimmy? Yes, I do. I dislike Jimmy more than Anthony. Yes, 100%. 100%. Yes. You could take that to the bank. This is the anniversary of who getting fired. Yeah, I think Anthony got fired 4th of July weekend, right? Back in, I don't know, I lost track, to be honest, maybe 14, I think. How weird is that? So 9 years ago, we did a show right around 4th of July weekend, and then we were going to take a nice long 4th of July weekend off. We turned off those mics. We walked out of the studio. I doubt we said goodbye, because we never said goodbye. It was very, very rare. And I never saw him again. God, life is weird. life is weird. But we always said it. We always said it with the Opie and Anthony show. You know, you got to tune in every day. And you got to do it with my live stream, too, because one day I'm just going to get fickle and go, you know what, I'm done. I'm good. But I always say, like, you got to tune in every day to something you like because you never know when it's the last day for that. And we left that studio thinking, all right, we'll see each other after the long 4th of July weekend. And it wasn't meant to be. And I haven't seen him since. It's been 9 years. I haven't spoken. Well, yeah, I guess we did those phone calls. But even those phone calls are about, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago at this point. But I literally haven't seen the guy since. Taking pictures of Times Square after he lived in the city for how long? More like taking pictures of her, LOL. Man, Robert Spawn, my gut says we never got the real story with that whole damn thing. That's what my gut says. My gut could be completely wrong.
Howard's still better than you. That's fine. If you like Howard over me or what me and Anthony did, whatever, dude. But he's a phony. And I think that bothers people when I speak honestly about my time at SiriusXM and knowing Howard. He's a big phony, and he's not as brave as you think. He fights a lot of battles behind the scenes. He never took on me and Anthony. He took on pretty much every other radio show. But when it came to taking on me and Anthony back in the day, Howard would cry like a little bitch, and he would get on the phone to Mel Karmazin and our boss, Ken Stevens. My boss wasn't Howard's boss, but he would call my boss to make us stop and yell and scream at him. So that's your hero. So if you want to say he's better than us or better than me, whatever, dude. That's up to you. But you need to know he's a wimp, and he fights a lot of battles behind the scenes. He also called Letterman and basically said, look, I've been good to you over the years. I don't want you having Opie and Anthony on your show anymore. This is a true story. Because the fact is, when me and Anthony were on Letterman, to be fair, it was more Anthony than me. Anthony crushed. I sat there like a dummy for the most part. I was sort of shut out of the conversation. That's a story for another day. But whatever. We were on Letterman. Opie and Anthony crushed it. As soon as we left the stage, all of Letterman's people came running towards us, a couple producers, a writer we knew over there, and they're like, holy shit, that was absolutely awesome. We want to book you guys again in a couple months. I'm like, that's great. And they started thinking that we can maybe be some kind of a regular thing because we're in New York. Think like Regis Philbin and think like Mad Dog Russo, where they would call last minute because a guest would cancel. So they're thinking, wait, these guys were really good. Let's try to work them into the rotation. And that would probably mean maybe going on a couple times a year. I'm not going to oversell it. It wasn't like we were going to go on weekly or anything like that. And they're like, we're like, great. And they're like, we'll keep in touch. And I'm like, okay. We never heard from them again. And then it came out years later. I can't tell you my source today, but I could back this shit up. It turned out that Howard called in a favor. This is a fact, and told Letterman, I've been good to you over the years. I give you great shows. I give you great ratings. I don't want you having Opie and Anthony on your show anymore. And to David Letterman's fucking pathetic credit, he agreed. He went with it. That's the real Howard. Did he ever mention this on the air? No. Did he ever fight us on the air, toe to toe, like he did with these other like lame ass, weak ass shows? No. But he had no problem getting on the phone and yelling and screaming and making people's days miserable because we were picking on him. We were calling him Hampton's Howie, and he couldn't handle it. That's the real guy right there.
Well, GH, you have a beautiful family. The other idiots are just alone, miserable and bitten. In the end, you are the success. Whatever. I mean, thanks, Ralph. I appreciate that. I love my wife and kids and the friends I got around me. I got really awesome people in my life, but maybe they're happy that way. I don't know. You know, I know like from very early on, those guys both made it clear they didn't really want to be fathers or be married. So, you know, it works for them. And that's why I think they bonded more with each other than with me. They were on a whole different path than me, personally and professionally. What was the longest break you guys got from work? Everyone knows. Over 2 years. We just had to sit there like dummies. 2 years, 3 months, because then the company, another reason why I hate corporations, they made us sit for 2 years, and then they're like, well, now you got to like wait out your no compete, because technically we were under contract for those 2 years, and then our contract was over, and then they're like, well, now you got to sit out the no compete. So we were finally free from CBS Radio at the time, and then they made us sit out another 3 months. And then another reason I hate them. And then they try to kill our careers. And then they desperately needed us when Howard Stern was leaving. So then they came back and hired us back. You don't think that was awkward when I'm seeing all the people that were for our dismissal? Business is really weird, man. And in a way, they did hurt our careers, because I don't know if we ever came back to that point. We had success on satellite radio, of course, but the success we were having on regular radio, being syndicated everywhere, was absolutely insane. One of the greatest runs in radio history. And then their whole plan was to sit us for 2 years. There was no social media, so we were just dead in the water. And they did hurt us a little bit, because when we did go back to regular radio and stuff, you know, we didn't have the same juice. Like we were on a runaway train. We couldn't do no wrong. And when we came back, we were definitely a bit damaged. We still did, you know, well for ourselves. My God, of course.
Daniel, relatively new here. Oh, most people don't realize that you saw military action. In 1996, you were involved in a 3-day aerial conflict known as the Bra Bombing. Look, man, we had to find our way. There's not many bits. I'll be honest. There's not many bits from the Opie and Anthony years. Thank you for the laugh, for real, Daniel, that I'm embarrassed by. But the bra bombing, oh my God. We were up in Boston at WAF, the only station that really rocks. You're going to get your $5 worth, Daniel. Thank you. And we were doing a local TV show. We were the stars of the show, but the whole station had to be involved. And me and Anthony were like, why are they involved? It's obvious that people are loving our bits. Oh, God. Everyone else would do a segment on that show, and it was just mediocre. And then me and Anthony would hit it out of the park, day after day. And anyway, we were trying to get on this one TV station, and I guess we were too shock jockey and edgy for them. So they basically said no. I think it was WABU, because I think our slogan was FUABU or something like that. Oh God! And then, I take credit for like a bunch of the benchmark bits from Opie and Anthony, so I might have to take credit that this bra bombing was my idea. And then we went into a production studio and we made believe we were in some kind of like blimp, and we were flying over the TV station and dropping bra bombs on them. Why the bra bombs though? Why the bra? Oh my God, I got to get my history right, because then there was another bit we were trying to do, which was definitely a bit other radio shows were doing that we were trying to get done, and it failed. We couldn't get it done, but we were gonna like hook bras together and have it cross over the Charles River. I remember we were trying to do that. Was that associated with the bra bombing? Why did we decide bra bombing? I forget now. Oh, Beth Hart did a segment on Real Rock TV where she wasn't wearing a bra. She could sing her you-know-what off. And then it was a big deal that she wasn't wearing a bra, because it was obvious she wasn't wearing a bra. And I think this TV station had a problem with that. And then I think, if I remember correctly, then they took the show off their channel. And then we had to find the Spanish channel in town. It was the only other TV channel that would have Real Rock TV starring Opie and Anthony. I think that's what it was. So to make it hurt, we came up with this idea that we would bra bomb the TV station. I think I might have just nailed that. I think I just figured out in front of everyone's eyes. That's why the bra bombing. But the bit itself was just so cringy and bad. And looking back at it, you're like, oh my God. Thank you, Daniel. I think I got most of that right, but I'm not positive. All right.